Small business is about courage, risk-taking, independence, and we small business owners are survivors. Everybody has an idea for a business, but how do you take that idea from mind to market? This is the place to learn.
Small Business School with Hattie Bryant.
It's a new kind of school. Together we'll learn about business from the inside out, from the people who've done it. We'll meet the men and women who are today's pioneers and quiet heroes. Their lives are the textbooks. Our classroom is the world. Today, we meet a young business with a youthful sensibility. Two guys met in New York City, started a company, then moved to Santa Monica to enjoy street sports and grow their business.
This stuff is more of a high-intensity kind of new groove vibe to it.
Just a few blocks from Santa Monica's palm tree-lined ocean front, T-Bone Films is pioneering programming for the young.
You don't really care about who gets hurt. All you are is a dollar bill.
Evan Stone and Craig Carroll, owners of T-Bone Films, have doubled their business every year since they began offering full video production services in 1994.
And then go into like little fade up, fade down to really powerful sound bites of these real people. Let's not go into the experts yet. Well, my background is film background. My father's a commercial director, and my uncle's a film editor, and my cousins, it's all production. So all through high school, I was working in that genre. And outside, when I got out of high school, it was an easy decision. I became assistant cameraman in NABID, a unit in New York, and learning camera work. Mm-hmm. To me, that was college.
I was working moving furniture when I was 18 years old, and I was a young little entrepreneur with an old beat-up UPS truck, and I would move anybody anytime. You could call me at 3 in the morning, and I would move you, no questions asked. And I got hired to move these two producers. They asked me to move a big 12K light into a very bad area of New York City called Alphabet City. And I sort of mentioned to them on the ride that, you know, this area is pretty hairy. You're going to, you know what you're getting into. And they gave me the look, pal, just drive the truck. I'm like, okay, big guy. And then the security guys showed up, and the security guys were a little overwhelmed, and they said, hey, you know, you seem to know your way around here. Why don't you stay for the day, and we'll pay you $100 to just be, you know, like a mean mover guy with a big baseball bat. And I'm like, okay. And I just, the energy of the people and the creativity of the people, I was totally sold. It was like a drug, and I was an addict, and I've been in the film business since that day.
How did you and Craig get this started?
Well, we got this started kind of in an interesting way, as I'm sure a lot of small businesses start, out of necessity. It's like we both were in the freelance world. I was a director cameraman, and he was a producer. And basically the job started, just was starting to hit on what was coming our way, and we weren't really in control of our destiny. So we decided to start our own company.
And you financed this all yourself?
Yes.
Where did that money come from?
Well, at first, you know, we just did it. You know, we started a shack in a tool shed in back of my house. That we put our we had a 3/4 inch Convergence Super 90 edit system, and we decided to start doing our own stuff.
We were going to start off doing extreme sports because we really wanted to do what we loved, and even if we could just live above the poverty line, doing extreme sports would be great. Snowboarding and skiing and skateboarding.
You started the business to be able to do what you wanted to do.
Oh, clearly. It was that we wanted to do what we wanted to do and try to make a living at what we love doing, which is, you know, we love sports. We loved extreme sports. And this was a way for us to spend our days, you know, doing our sport and making a little money at it.
You did not put your names on the company. I mean, T-Bone Films,
Yeah.
It's not Evan and Craig.
Right.
Did you do that intentionally?
Well, the funny thing about our name, T-Bone, we're looking for a name. We're thinking of a name, a cool, edgy name that really says everything. So we wanted to hit that Gen X kind of target market. Mm-hmm. And our cat came by and said, "Rah!" His name was T-Bone. We said T-Bone Films. You know,
so
and it just stuck.
Your company's named after your cat. Evan and Craig started hiring people in their second year of operation. Today, these are the players. Conroy Brown, senior editor. Karen Inwood, in-house producer and director of development. Diane Martinez, office manager. Jennifer Wilson, accountant. Greg Ulrich, graphic designer. Tyson Shills, producer-director. Jimmy Georgopoulos, internet development.
How do you decide who you're going to take onto the payroll? Because that's a big decision.
It's one we take very seriously, and it's only through trial and error that I have learned that, without good employees, you can have all the good ideas you want. You can't do it all. So we look at people very carefully, and we look them right in the eye, and we try to really make them understand how hard it is to work here, how much is demanded of you, how impolite of a place that can be.
Nobody says, "Excuse me, I'm sorry," when they run into
It's just a reality. Things are moving very quickly, and we have to make decisions quickly. And, often people's feelings get trampled, and maybe people, aren't thanked enough, or, maybe they have to do things they don't want, or maybe, we have to call them up at midnight, and we have to say, you have to drop this package off in Camarillo in the morning, that's the way it works, because if they don't do it, I have to do it. And if I have to do it, I can't run the company, and if the company doesn't run, they don't have a job. So it's a really simple equation, but we just let them know that it's not, an 8-hour day with a 1-hour lunch.
When I was working freelance, I've always had my eye on a few people. One of them, his name's Conroy Brown. He's a freelance editor for MTV, one of their head editors. And I used to do a lot of work with him. When I went freelance, of course, I think of those people that could maybe do it better than I would do it. Like I was nominated Editor of the Year in '93 as an editor, but that's
MTV?
on MTV for music videos. But that's not the road I want to go down. I want to hire someone who that's what they want to do. They want to conceptualize editorially in their head, just like me.
Now, Evan met you when you were working with MTV.
Yes, I was actually with MTV. They've been one of my clients for a lot of years, and the thing that was fun about meeting Evan is they're very much have the same sort of sensibilities and the same sort of style.
Conroy is an artist. He's an editor, but he's much more. You tell him, you say to him, do what you do. I love it.
Okay.
And because I know Conroy, and he's proven to me that he's done it before, I'm more and more open.
Because
for
nobody
him.
at Viacom was saying, "Do what you do, I love it."
No, they're telling him what to do.
I mean, working for Viacom that owns MTV, what's the difference in working for a Viacom and a T-Bone?
The difference is is quite frankly ownership. You have a greater personal involvement working with a smaller company. It's easier to get your vision across, as opposed to having to go through layers and layers of
Right.
of
You just argue
bureaucracy.
your case with Evan, and if you win, you win.
Yeah. It never even comes down to that. Simply because the nice thing about being involved in a small business is that it becomes a very much a family environment, and everyone is brought for their specific strengths. It's not a layer. They're not layers of redundancy.
Yeah.
The reason that Evan and Craig sought to get me out here is because of the particular style
And
that
skill.
that they're looking for.
Well, we mostly reward them in that they're involved in an incredible creative process, and they're involved in something that has tangible results that they can see. Their influence is seen on television, and it's kind of like a big slap on the back. I'd like to say that we reward them tremendously financially, but it's just not the case. When there's extra money, we will often give somebody a small Christmas bonus, but nobody works here for the money. People work here because they believe in what we're doing, and they know that, when the family does well, everybody does well.
Well, I'm T-Bone's principal graphic designer. So basically what I do is design video boxes. I design one-sheets for spec projects. I interned at T-Bone for about 8 months before I was eventually hired on. I was self-taught previous to me being here. So most of the stuff that I've learned has been through T-Bone. They kind of groomed me for the graphics position that I'm in right now.
The intern program. Talk to me about that. How does that work here, and why do you do it?
Well, we do it to really, cut cost and to train people and to, staff up our office at a level that we couldn't normally afford to staff it. One of the reasons we have it also is that everybody wants to be in the film business. It's very glamorous, but nobody realizes actually how unglamorous it really is. And the internship is very specific in the first day. Everybody's first day, we try to make as horrible as humanly possible.
What do you mean horrible?
Whether it's, clean the basement out, or, relabel every one of these tapes for the next 12 hours, or,
You really do.
clean that dirty old crusted film that's stuck to the refrigerator, scrape it all out. Because this way we don't waste any time. If they don't do that, then we know they're not going to make it, So we just try to find the worst job that nobody wants to do. But, one time we had this refrigerator that was loaded with salmon, and nobody wanted to clean it out. And we had this NYU student, and he's like, I want to be in the internship program. And Evan and I looked at each other, we're like, get the salmon refrigerator. And that kid scrubbed that thing with, it was brand new by the time he was done. And we were like, we got an ace in the hole.
All right.
This guy will be running this company in another 6 months.
So what I want to do out of the new graphics reel, let's pause a second. With the new graphics reel, I want to be like, well, this is all our new stuff.
I like learning, and that's basically what I've taken away from this place. T-Bone Films is two grassroots guys who came out of the woodwork, didn't have huge college. They weren't from film school. They came out and they've done really cool stuff.
All of a sudden, these films weren't just skate films. They were day in the lives of these kids today. So all our films have a real T-Bone mark. And if you saw any of our extreme sports films, you go, wow, that's different. And how they're distributed is through ma and pa shops, which is interesting. It's not going through Blockbuster, any of those.
Video shops.
No, skateboard, inline, snowboard shops.
This film you made of the rollerblader could be purchased where I could buy rollerblades.
Yeah, or if we did a snowboard film in a snowboard shop, because we do all kinds of extreme
Evan, did you
sports
create a distribution channel for yourself?
In a way,
Sales channel.
in a way, what we decided was really Blockbuster and all these big chains are not going to carry our films. We had to create something ourselves. So we contacted distributors that distribute merchandise and attacked
To the extreme athletes.
and got our films into those markets.
Then did that give you enough money to fund your next project?
Exactly. What we decided was the only way we're going to have a real worth as a company is to create a library. A lot of production companies, they go job to job, and really they don't have any residuals. And that's just the nature of the business in a small film production company. You'll at the end of the year you may have made a lot of money, but it
over.
all
That's
goes.
it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we decided to create a worth of the company and build a library, and that's what we did.
All right, so the library focuses on the day in the life of Generation Xers and
Exactly.
Generation Yers and extreme sports and music.
Right.
So you now have a niche.
Well, we had a niche. We had a niche being the MTV sports guys, the guys who can really tell a story in a very artistic, cinematic way, and that was our flair. But after a while, it got stale. So we delved into more of our documentaries with Channel 1 and different people doing stuff like teen heroin abuse, homeless in America, teens with cancer, AIDS, all these real social issues, but we brought a flair to it that was young, where youth can really understand what we're talking about visually.
All right, would you say that your products have evolved as you have matured?
Yes, I would definitely say that. Our products have matured with us. One of our skate films that was featured in Edinburgh Film Festival, got picked for Best of the Fest.
Great.
We've won a Spirit Award with one of them. And to us, the letters that come into the internet and the kids, and actually the sales, really dictate, what direction we're going into.
Development in Hollywood is sales. And sales, as with any other company, is bringing new business in. It's also inventing ideas to sell to other companies. So Hattie, then what we do is when we go into pitch a studio, for example, we do a lot of research about the studio to start off with so that we know what their interests are. We try to know a little bit about the people we're actually pitching to, their personal tastes.
Right.
And when we do that, then we go in with, say, something like a wide angle. And wide angle is an MTV version of 60 Minutes. These are sort of hard-hitting stories for teens, teen culture. And then, for example, this one is hardcore. This is one of our pride and joys, which we've shot an entire pilot around, and this is all about the culture of the extreme sport world. We are a company that has the tap on youth culture, and we also have a lot of experience on what I call a cross-platform level. We produce content for television primarily. We also now produce content for DVD and also for the internet. So that gives us kind of a unique skew for our customers because we have a perspective, I think, that a lot of other companies don't have.
The future for us, we're putting a lot of emphasis in digital entertainment, internet, broadcasting. We're looking at shows not as we're going to sell a show to CBS. We're looking at a show with a website, with an interactive element, with a DVD, trying to stay ahead of the technology and look at cheaper ways to produce shows because the future is the web, and the web is sort of like a very broadband world where you're not going to get $250,000 to produce a show. You're going to get $20,000 to produce a show, and if you can't do it for $20,000, then you're just not going to be working.
The internet thing to me seems like you're going to have another kind of employee than you've ever had before.
Well, we have Jimmy and some technology people who are, a very big part of, 99 and the year 2000 for us. So, we surround ourselves with people who are more savvy about this business, and we have them teach us, and we take what we're good at and we figure out how to attach it to what they're doing. And, you have to hire the people who understand the technology to make the money in the future.
So tell me what you're working on right now.
I'm working on the new T-Bone website. We're launching a new website in the next 3 months. And it's going to have a lot of interactivity. We plan to show a lot of the new technologies that we've been working on for the past 6 to 8 months. You'll be able to interact with the screen. You'll be able to learn about what you're visually looking at. So there'll be links, there'll be places where you can learn about that particular product, that particular image. You'll be able to pull something out of that visual, unlike television where you're just sitting there watching it.
When you're dealing with the internet, tell you the truth, you got to be different, because otherwise they can find it on the TV, they can find it on cable, and if you don't do something different, why are they programming in? The big companies, especially network television, is scared. All their advertising dollars are now going towards cable and the internet, and I think people really gotta head, take their head out of the sand.
It's like, guess what? It's here.
And I think programming in the future is narrowcasting. Now, that used to be a bad word, about 10 years ago with networks. Narrowcasting, no, we want to be broad. Well, I think programming for the internet is narrowcasting. You have to be real specific. We're doing a Spanish show. We're doing an Asian show.
Right.
We're doing a show for extreme sports kids. We're doing a show on gaming. So you name it, just like the internet. If you're interested in something, you can go to it. That's the way programs can be in the future, and that's the way I think the products and the clients that to serve that are going to want to be real turned on by this alternative marketing campaign.
How did you two decide who's going to do what? Or was that a natural because Evan loves behind the camera and you love producing? Or?
Well, Evan and I complemented each other, and we had been friends since we were 18, and we had always sort of, I had always sort of been the entrepreneur, and he'd always been sort of the wild, frenzied director who, couldn't find his keys. So we decided when we started this company that there had to be a real clear division in the responsibilities, and I tried to direct once, and I was a colossal failure at it. And I'm sure he at one point tried to produce something and was a colossal failure at it. And we just decided that the lines of the business would be drawn at that. I would be the head of the sort of the business affairs, and he would be the head creative person. And we would both have influence, obviously, over each other's divisions. But ultimately, he makes the creative decisions, and I basically make the business decisions.
If you're a dysfunctional, business person like me, but very creative, you definitely want to find someone who that's all they want to do is produce. They don't want to direct or shoot.
Right.
They don't like it.
Right. They want to make it
They
happen.
want to do it happen. They turned on by the whole process of that. You know what I'm saying? If you hook up with someone who wants to do what you do, eventually you're going to have problems.
What is the difference in the mentality, the approach to life for a business owner as opposed to an employee?
I think I think being a freelancer all my life, meaning I go job to job, I don't really have a stable check, puts me in a more competitive mode. Is really owning a company is almost like being freelance. You don't know when your next job's coming, and you feel like a certain responsibility to your employees to get more work, and to yourself.
Right.
And your cat,
Right.
and your wife,
You gotta
and
feed
everything.
all this stuff.
Yeah, I feel this, but also creatively, you can secure your own destiny. As a small business owner, you can start a company and say, I want to do this, and go for it, and try it.
I think the dream is to, I mean, for us, we don't really, we're not getting rich doing this. The dream is to, affect people through the medium of film, is to, be part of something great, whether it's, skateboarding or rollerblading and making that sport huge, or whether it's, heroin abuse. When we did that documentary, we got literally hundreds of, when we did the first version, we got literally hundreds of letters from people saying, I saw your documentary and I'm scared straight. I would never touch that drug. And to me, that's the big payoff. Or I'll get a letter from a kid and he'll be like, I can't, when's your next skate film coming out? Please send me a sticker. And believe it or not, when I'm in an airport and a kid sees me and he's like, oh, you're from T-Bone Films, can I have a t-shirt? It makes me feel like I touched somebody in the middle of the country that I would have never touched.
Small Business School with Hattie Bryant.
If you want to learn more about starting, running, and growing a business, come to our website, smallbusinessschool.org. There's streaming video and interactive study guides.
The only way we can compete with big business is to be faster, smarter, and better. We are the engine of the American economy. We create the jobs. Small business is about big commitment. It's about sacrifice and struggle. But we do it because we say, if I don't do this, my life won't be complete.